Casting Crowns. I am so excited to guide you through this because their journey, it's honestly a masterclass in how staying laser focused on your core mission can create a legacy that literally spans decades. Right off the bat, it begs a pretty massive question. How exactly does a local student worship band transform into a multi-platinum staple of radio? We're talking about a massive commercial footprint here. Over 10 million albums sold, a whole shelf overflowing with Grammy and Dove awards, and a level of staying power that's honestly rare in any genre. Well, we're going to break down exactly how they got there, step by step. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the origins of a CCM juggernaut, move into the big tent sound, look at honest lyrics and frailty, explore 2 decades of dominance, and finally, finding healing in the storm. Section 1. Origins of a CCM juggernaut. So at the absolute center of this whole story is Mark Hall. He's the band's lead singer, their primary songwriter, and crucially, a youth pastor. And you know, that dual identity, pastor and frontman, that really serves as the guiding hand for literally everything the band has ever done. Back in 1999, he formed the group down in Daytona Beach, Florida, and it was just a student worship band. But things really started to shift around 2001 when they relocated up to McDonough, Georgia. They expanded the lineup, added some musicians to round out the sound, and actually released a couple of indie records that got huge in the Atlanta area. But the real turning point? That hits in 2003. One of those indie albums somehow found its way to Mark Miller. Yeah, the lead singer of the country group Sawyer Brown. And Miller was just absolutely struck by 2 things: their driving pop rock style and Mark Hall's incredibly hard-hitting vocal delivery. Miller quickly signed them to his brand new Beach Street Records label and even brought in CCM legend Stephen Curtis Chapman to co-produce their debut. Section 2. The Big Tent Sound. So what actually keeps a band relevant for over 20 years? Well, in Casting Crowns' case, they basically refuse to be boxed into just one sonic corner. Think about it. You've got these epic rock guitars blended seamlessly with lush orchestral strings and keyboards. But then, right on top of that, you'll catch folksy banjos being plucked alongside accordions. I mean, it's wild, but this all-encompassing sound is entirely intentional. It's designed to cast a massive net. It appeals to soul-searching alternative youth, old-school gospel traditionalists, and huge fans of gorgeous pop ballads alike. It's like they've built this massive musical tent, and there is a place for absolutely everyone inside it. Section 3. Honest lyrics and frailty. Now, all of those incredibly diverse instruments and sweeping arrangements, they're ultimately just a vehicle for a really fascinating lyrical duality. On one side of the coin, you have gentle praise. We're talking tender-hearted ballads filled with intimate humility and these beautiful declarations of God's love. But then on the flip side, they constantly challenge believers. They absolutely do not shy away from uncomfortable truths. Even going all the way back to their very first album, you had songs like If We Are the Body, directly addressing alienation within the church, and tracks like American Dream, aggressively calling out materialism and false values. They've always walked this tightrope, perfectly balancing comforting their listeners with really challenging them to look inward. And as their official site perfectly puts it, boiling down life's most challenging moments into digestible proclamations of faith is really the cornerstone of their brand. They make it a major point to highlight human frailty. Take their hit song Stained Glass Masquerade, for example. It is such a powerful reminder that believers struggle with deep doubt too. That unapologetic honesty about human weakness is exactly what makes their music resonate with so many people. Section 4. 2 decades of dominance. Okay, so we've looked at the intimate micro level of their songwriting. Now let's zoom out to the macro level. 10 million. That is the staggering number of albums Casting Crowns has sold since they first emerged in the late 90s. To put that into perspective, in an era where physical media has practically vanished, moving 10 million units is just unbelievable. And of course, that's sitting right alongside a trophy case completely overflowing with Grammy and Dove awards. But here's the thing. They didn't just sell CDs back in the day and then fade out. They transitioned flawlessly into the streaming era. Just look at the numbers. The track Nobody, featuring Matthew West, is sitting at over 176 million streams. Their classic hit, Who Am I?, is right on its heels with over 168 million. And Only Jesus comes in hot with nearly 85 million. Even today, Casting Crowns still commands over 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify alone. That right there? That proves their message is continually finding brand new audiences. Section 5. Finding healing in the storm. To really understand how they've maintained this relevance, let's look at a modern case study. their 2022 album, Healer. The context for this one was something we all lived through, the global pandemic lockdowns. Mark Hall knew he needed to write for the moment, but the moment felt, impossibly large. So he looked at his immediate surroundings instead. As he put it, I've been a youth pastor for over 20 years, and here I was counseling teenagers who just lost their senior year. I realized all the songs I was writing dealt with healing. He was watching these students lose their friend groups and feel utterly hopeless about the future. That real-world, face-to-face counseling directly fueled the concept for the entire record. Let's look at how that theme of healing actually manifested across the album's tracks. The title track, Healer, tackles our modern habit of turning to endless distractions. The band's core message there is that true healing comes from Jesus, not from the politicians we vote for or the screens we constantly stare at. Then you've got Desert Road, which is all about the grueling journey of trusting a plan when you feel completely out of control. Another deeply poignant one is Scars in Heaven. This track tackles grief and the really difficult reality that the healing we pray for, especially for our loved ones, well, it doesn't always look the way we want it to. And finally, they injected some real fun with Crazy People. It's a track that playfully points out how the world often views believers as crazy, kind of like how they probably viewed Noah building a massive boat in his front yard. And it suggests that maybe, just maybe, the world could use a few more of those crazy people. Basically, every single song offers a distinct perspective on navigating uncertainty. Which brings us to our conclusion today, and a final thought I really want to leave you with. When we look at Casting Crown's unique ability to speak so directly to the anxieties of their listeners, we kind of have to ask, are authenticity and vulnerability, regardless of the musical genre, often the truest metrics of musical endurance? For Casting Crowns, their unwavering commitment to honest connection, addressing human doubt just as much as human faith, has clearly secured their legacy for over 2 decades. It is an absolutely incredible blueprint of mission-driven artistry,